Madam President, this bill does not address the major economic crises we face: growing unemployment, low wages, and the need to create decent-paying jobs, rebuilding our infrastructure, and moving us to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. But on top of all that, Madam President, there is one issue that is even more profound and more basic than everything else that I have mentioned, and that is, if a bailout is needed, if taxpayer money must be placed at risk, whose money should it be? Madam President, most of my constituents did not earn a $38 million bonus in 2005 or make over $100 million in total compensation in 3 years, as did Mr. Henry Paulson, current Secretary of the Treasury and former CEO of Goldman Sachs. Madam President, this bill does not deal with the absurdity of having the fox guarding the henhouse. Now, maybe I'm the only person in America who thinks so, but I have a hard time understanding why we are giving $700 billion to the Secretary of the Treasury, who was the former CEO of Goldman Sachs, who, along with other financial institutions, actually got us into this problem. Now, maybe I'm the only person in America who thinks that's a little bit weird, but that is what I think. Madam President, most of my constituents did not make $354 million in total compensation over the past 5 years, as did Richard Fould, the CEO of Lehman Brothers. Madam President, most of my constituents did not cash out $60 million in stock after a $29 billion bailout for Bear Stearns after that failing company was bought out by J.P. Morgan Chase. Madam President, most of my constituents did not get a $161 million severance package as E. Stanley O'Neill, former CEO of Merrill Lynch, did. Madam President, last week I placed on my website, sanders.senate.gov, a letter to Secretary Paulson in support of the content of my amendment, which was pretty simple. It said that it should be those people best able to pay for this bailout, those people who have made out like bandits in recent years, they should be asked to pay for this bailout, and it should not be the middle class. And to my amazement, and I'm a senator from a small state, to my amazement, some 48,000 people, and here they are, these are their names, and I will not read them all off, Madam President. 48,000 people have already co-signed this petition, and the names keep coming in, and the message is very simple. We had nothing to do with causing this bailout. We are already under economic duress. Go to those people who have made out like bandits, go to those people who have caused this crisis, and ask them to pay for the bailout. Madam President, the time has come to assure our constituents in Vermont and all over this country that we are listening and understand their anger and their frustration. The time has come to say that we have the courage to stand up to all of the powerful financial institution lobbyists who are running amok all over this building, from the Chamber of Commerce to the American Bankers Association to the Business Roundtable. All of these groups who make huge campaign contributions, spend all kinds of money on lobbyists, they're here, loud and clear. They don't want to pay for this bailout. They want middle America to pay for it. Madam President, this country faces many serious problems in the financial market, in the stock market, in our economy. We must act, but we must act in a way that improves the situation. We can do better than the legislation we are dealing with tonight. Madam President, this bill does not effectively address the issue of what the taxpayers of our country will actually own after they invest hundreds of billions of dollars in toxic assets. This bill does not effectively address the issue of oversight because the board members, the oversight board members, were handpicked from the Bush administration. This bill does not effectively deal with the issue of foreclosures and addressing that very, very serious issue, which is impacting millions of low and moderate income Americans in the aggressive, effective kind of way that we should be. This bill does not effectively deal with the issue of executive compensation and golden parachutes. Under this bill, the CEOs and the Wall Street insiders will still, with a little bit of imagination, continue to make out like bandits. Madam President, this bill does not deal at all with how we got into this crisis in the first place and the need to undo the deregulation fervor which created trillions of dollars in complicated and unregulated financial instruments such as credit default swaps and hedge funds.